Hi guys. Now ideally this video should have been called Why Liberal Arts Academics or Marxist Academics Cannot Solve Any Problem in India, and especially casteism. But since such a big name would have been impossible to read in the YouTube thumbnail and in short the suggestion part, that's why I decided to keep the name short. Now my topic is why academics can't solve problems. The first problem about why they can't solve the issue of caste in India is because this entire liberal arts academia, the subjects, their scope, their syllabus are either all direct remnants of the British Raj era or are extensions of that line of thought created by people who were heavily inspired by European thought. To be precise, European coloniality is like the prime kadhai, so to speak, in which Marxist and liberal arts academia is cooked in. Which is to say, this field was created by Europeans to look at Bharat in an exotic way, like a lab animal meant for experimentation and data collection, with a mixture of intended as well as the unintended consequence of creating fissures in Bharatiya society where there is none, or increasing the divide where there are some fissures, and in the end either converting you or converting the episteme of your faith even without converting you. In conclusion of this first point, this field was not created to solve any problems. It was at best created to observe an exotic animal, and at worst created to destroy a civilization which they realized is far superior to theirs. My second point is, since this is how this field was created, it's no wonder that their guns are always pointed at the wrong direction. For example, talk to a Marxist or a liberal arts academic for 5 minutes or 5 years. The single takeaway you will have from the conversations with them is that Hinduism is to be blamed for every problem in India, and Islam or Muslims are responsible for absolutely zero problems in India. Remember, they teach Savarkar's views on Hindutva, but not his views on and actions regarding eliminating casteism, and they teach Ambedkar's views on casteism, but not his views on Islam. These social science syllabuses are basically a party manifesto, a deliberate political narrative with selectively nitpicked data points from here and there. Not to mention that they read absolutely zero primary sources. All their knowledge is based on journals written by people who have also read journals or have read commentaries or interpretations of primary sources or other journals. In discussing anything Bharatiya, half the battle is lost for any learner if they do not know Sanskrit, and more so if they don't even read unabridged English translations done by people who are absolutely fluent in Sanskrit. For example, if you don't know Sanskrit, you absolutely cannot discuss Ramayana or Mahabharata unless you have read an unabridged English translation of Ramayana and Mahabharata. Other than that, you have absolutely no authority to speak on that based on journals or something, or based on journals written by people who have also read other journals. It's absolutely useless. Or read commentaries and interpretations. Absolutely useless. Read unabridged versions. Remember that Hindu-phobic Marxist professor who was debating Rajiv Malhotra? Have you seen that clip? It has 1.8 million views. That dude says, I teach a bit of Hindi, a bit of Urdu, a bit of Sanskrit. ये पनीनी का असिस्टेंट था क्या? बिट ऑफ संस्कृत क्या होता है? यहाँ पे राममोहन रॉय बोल रहा है कि क्या होगा ये कॉम्प्लेक्स लैंग्वेज सीख के, इट टेक्स सो मच टाइम टू लर्न संस्कृत, सो वाई वेस्ट टाइम, लेट्स लर्न इंग्लिश. और वहाँ पे बोल रहा है बिट ऑफ संस्कृत, बिट ऑफ उर्दू. तो माई पॉइंट इज़, ये बिट ऑफ उर्दू, बिट ऑफ संस्कृत वाले अगर कभी मुंह खोलते हैं तुम्हारे सामने अबाउट भारतीय एपिस्टेम, इनको ऐसे डिस्ट्रॉय करो डिबेट में कि रात को उनको खराब सपना है तुम्हारा थोबड़ा याद आके. So anyway, if they are dishonest about their criticism, they cannot come up with any solutions, which is why we have given them 75 to 80 years to solve casteism. We have funded them enough. They have not solved caste. All they have managed to do is destroy India's reputation abroad, pretend to be a heroic and victorious little sad poor Indian who is now playing with the big boys and has overcome this discrimination, and will now therefore write books and papers on caste for the rest of his life, without solving anything on the ground. Remember what we have learned from the impact of RRR in America and Europe? Those people had no idea that the British did these atrocities. They probably knew of just the Jallianwala Bagh incident. They knew that Gandhi kicked them out with the lethal and vicious power of non-violence. But all of them know one thing for sure, that is caste, caste and caste. Selling India's casteism to the West is the bread and butter and beef burger for these academics. And you need to debate them, demolish their faith in themselves and their field, and in every chance you get, be it in the streets or at a friendly debate or a social media. They have held India hostage for 80 years. It's time to end their filthy game once and for all. In my opinion, there are just two ways to annihilate caste: free market and Hindu unity. In my opinion, the free market can solve the caste in this way. Let's say there's a truly evil Brahminical businessman who doesn't want to meet or shake hands and see people from other castes and wants to only work with other Brahmins. And remember that Brahmins are not the only ones who do caste atrocities and discrimination. Every caste, places where there is caste discrimination till this date, every caste discriminates and oppresses and does atrocities against people below their caste. And Savarkar used to write letters to Ambedkar regarding this, that why are you talking about only Brahmins? Even your caste does oppressions against people who are below your caste. I think Ambedkar was from the Mahar caste. So anyway, think of that situation where an evil Brahminical guy is running a business, and in a free market, the best guy has to get the job, and the guy that offers to do the job for the least amount of money. And what if a Dalit is good at his job and wants to do that job for lesser money than the Brahmins? Is that businessman going to pay Brahmins more? And especially if that Brahmin guy is not good at his job just because he is Brahmin, it's not going to work. Therefore, free markets have to come in. Business, entrepreneurship has to come in these places before anything else. And Marxist academics hate capitalism and free markets. That could have solved casteism 70 years back if Nehru hadn't played around with Fabian socialism. Nehru's socialism is one of the biggest reasons why casteism has not gone away. The second way to kill casteism, I think, is with Hindu unity. What Savarkar has always recommended and predicted, that the day Dalits identify as Hindutva guys, I think I'm paraphrasing him, that's the day all problems end in casteism, as well as in terms of us being threatened by Muslims or Islamism, not Muslims. And even Ambedkar has written the first 40-50 pages in his speech called Annihilation of Caste about Hindu unity. Why isn't the Hindu united? That's his main argument in the first 50 pages. Now, both of these, free market and Hindu unity, is being done by Yogi Adityanath in UP. That's why the casteism is going away. Caste-based voting has disappeared in UP. Whereas every other party and politician all these years has simply used all this discourse created by Marxist academics to do petty reservation-based politics and come up with absolutely random caste-based political candidates on every level of governance, which has done absolutely nothing, nor was it meant to do anything to kill the idea of caste-based discrimination. Now, an academic may argue that their job is to create discourse and not pinpoint to anything specific, and not really to solve any problem per se. Which is to say, they probably think it's their job to be deliberately vague. There's two problems with that. One, Hindu population is 80% in India, so your funding comes from Hindus and you are taking their money to defame their faith while not solving the problem on the ground. Secondly, this vagueness only happens while discussing Islamic invasions, partition and temple destruction. That's when the so-called balanced views start appearing, like there were faults on both sides, some people play politics with religion, etc. But when it comes to their favorite dish, caste, there's no room for historical context or nuance. It's just Hindu bad Hindu. Remember, this is why Sanjeev Sanyal is a better economist than Nobel laureates like Abhijit Banerjee any day. Sanyal was the global strategist for Deutsche Bank. He used to get paid to solve problems like that every day. And if he couldn't deliver, he would be fired. Deutsche Bank wouldn't give him a 50-year tenure job to write papers on just one problem the bank is facing. Which brings me to the topic of defunding sociology or liberal arts or humanities in general. Not banning them, but defunding them from government colleges and universities. I have already made a separate video on this topic explaining my reasons for this thought, so check that out for more details. But let us stop providing free education for the children of upper middle class when their only goal and result is going to be to defame Bharat and Hinduism. Whereas poor people, lower middle class and the middle class who don't study these subjects takes loans to study STEM fields, and then gets a job, contributes to society, and pays off their own loans. Let the upper middle class study anti-India and anti-Hindu subjects with their own money. Now, there is a separate problem of liberal billionaires funding these anti-India and anti-Hindu subjects in private universities as well. For details, check out Rajiv Malhotra's interview with Sanjay Dixit just 2 days back. It was for promoting his upcoming book, which is on this very topic. It's called Snakes in the Ganges, Breaking India 2.0. But I don't know how to solve that issue just yet. That what if people study in a private institution with their own consenting money and they want to spend lakhs for studying this nonsense? I don't know how to stop that. Banning is not going to solve this thing. Banning is going to be very wrong. So some other solution has to come about that. But let's see. The discourse on this particular area has just come about by in the hands of Rajiv ji, and hopefully good ideas will come out soon in terms of solving it. But for now, let's stop wasting tax money on these Hindu-phobic syllabuses. Now, a personal example. I know of a family where a kid is about 2 or 3 years old, or I think 4 years old. I know of them from a friend's friend. They told me because they thought of this story really funny and cute in a kind of way. But I realized what's probably going on behind this. That kid always tears up all the teddy bears and tears its arms, and someone helps that kid in this endeavor and puts sellotape on the eyes of those teddy bears. And the kid has specifically said that the shaitan might come, evil spirits might come into that teddy bear. If you know of any Islamic history, you know that kid is being taught idol destruction. Has a presence of spirits, evil spirits, shaitan. That means they are talking about pagan religions. Now imagine if this problem was given to me and I did not know about or maybe I was a liberal arts academic. What if I was given 75 years to solve this problem? About, let's say there's a problem of random kids in a particular community destroying their teddy bears. I would probably look at it from the lens of criminal behavior. That kid is feeling a brutal affinity towards destroying a cute teddy bear, and maybe I would equate this with animal cruelty, and therefore I would never solve the problem because I'm pointing the gun at the wrong direction. Remember, this is not about criminal behavior. That kid, even if when that kid grows up and has all this in his or her mind, is probably not a bad person when you meet them face to face. If I maybe fell down on the road, maybe he or she would come to pick me up. If a car hit me, he or she would help me and give me water. If he or she saw a dog, maybe they would help the dog. It's not about criminal behavior. Remember, Aurangzeb was a pious, simple, life-living Muslim. He used to sew those caps for poor and casually, peacefully, with his pious life, he killed 4.6 million non-Muslims in his lifetime. So it's an episteme we are talking about. It's not particular evil criminal behavior. You are not going to diagnose this problem by just waiting for someone to say, kill those teddy bears, kill those Hindus. It's not always going to happen like that. It's a deep, peaceful decision they have made inside their minds. And if they are being taught such things from 3 to 4 years old, they know that evil spirits come to the teddy bear. That's pagan religion. That's Shakti. That's Pran Pratishtha, what they're talking about. My focus has to be on the episteme leading to these actions. Abrahamic faiths always use Abrahamic lenses to view us, and we end up agreeing with that lens. But we use a dharmic lens to view Abrahamic faiths, which is why we go praying in mazars and come up with crap like all religions are equal. We are ending that nonsense now. It's time to view them from their own lens. View every Abrahamic person or action or incident from an Abrahamic lens, keeping in mind Abrahamic epistemology, and every problem will become much clearer and thus more solvable.